Today, my guest, Howie Kra, who is a member of Leverage to Scale, is going to be sharing about his experience, but most importantly, he is going to be sharing his success and how he is doing with the system, and how his show and community, which is the Howie Doing It show that's live every day on Facebook. Again, I'm Alicia Avant, and I am the Certified Virtual Professional for the Leverage to Scale system, and Howie is a Leverage to Scale client, and he utilizes this system. I help him with implementation. And so I'm going to interview him today about his success. And first, we just want Howie to tell us a little bit about himself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Howie, and your business.
Sure. So my full day health and wellness industry, which is CBD. Everything that you and I do is completely separated. And a number of months ago, well, it's actually been, I've been planning for the last few years. I do some public speaking, and I'm trying to get on a TED stage later this year. I met up with Amber, and I explained to her that I wanted to start to do something to build a brand around myself, Howie. And one thing led to another, and I really was starting out with you and working on strictly my speaker bio. And then I took out my phone one morning at the beach as a result of watching somebody else do sunrise every morning. And I put the Facebook Live on. And slowly over a course of the next few days, especially with the help of my good friend Glenn Marks, or better known as Whitey, I was onto something. And as soon as I felt like I was onto something and people wanted to hear my message, I reached back out to Amber, who then told me all about Leverage to Scale. And I said, that sounds awesome. Since I have a full-time job and since I'm really busy, and although I'd like to build my Howie Doing It brand, I need help. And therefore, once it started and we started to build the website and all the content with it, there's no way that I could handle doing all of that, putting in 60 to 70 hours at my day job. So I enlisted Leverage to Scale to help me build the brand.
Right, exactly. Awesome. So that's what we've been doing. And now today was episode 88. Was that correct?
I think so, 88 or 89. Yeah, it's up there. It's up in the 80s, which is pretty incredible, because today you supplied me with a list of every show from show number 1, which we didn't even know what we were talking about, and I was laughing, to show number 3, where I really think it started for me was at Disney World. I went on a conference for the CBD industry, and it was down the street from Disney World. And I get up really early, so I'm walking through Disneyland or World, and it was like, I don't know, it wasn't even 6 a.m. out there, and I'm watching the cast and crew characters get off this bus. Donald and Mickey and Snow White, and they're all so happy. So I go over and I start interviewing them before they put their costumes on, and they were like the nicest people. And I started to think, Disney built a magical kingdom. So I did a little bit of homework and I grabbed a couple of his quotes. And that's kind of like where the quotes started, was standing underneath this big thing at downtown Disney, because he'd been turned down 350 times in his vision. So I gave the quotes, and then I said something like, don't ever quit. And I told the little story. And here I go again. Somebody just looked at me with my hands. And that was like where it was born. And then Whitey said to me, that was great. You used a quote, you used Disney, you told your own story, you gave another quote. I think we're onto a format. And that's when, but then even after that, it was a little shaky, because I would just write a quote, crumble it up, put it in my shorts, go for a run, stop. And ultimately, what we do every day now, it's really organized, because hopefully all of those notes are going to lead one day to a book.
Yes, exactly. And it works so well. And the thing that I think is so motivational, so helpful for so many, is that you are sharing not only your story, but you're sharing stories of others who have that same they have that same idea behind it. And your big topic that you sort of focus on, or that the big focal point they were leading to, is your story of resiliency. Though each story or each day has a separate theme, it has a separate topic, and you share quotes each day from those topics. Your big idea, your big picture idea, is your story of resiliency. Isn't that correct?
Yes, 100%. You know, when I started this whole journey, resiliency is like a way to describe me and my own life and my own journey. And so, you know, but that word has so many different meanings and buckets. And so then we started to look at the different areas of resiliency, and we kind of broke it down into four areas, which we quote and we talk about the buses all the time, which are the career, the financial, the health, and the relationship. And within all four of those, we're able to come up with so many different pieces of content that relate back into, you can just plug it all the time. And there seems to be a lot of interest in those subjects, as we all have trials and tribulations, and we all drive our own buses, and God knows they veer off the road.
Exactly, exactly. And it's something that everyone can relate to, because of the fact that we all deal with each of those four areas, and we've all probably dealt with sidetracks, or, like you say, veering off the road in those four areas of our lives. So so we talked about kind of what your business is, how you got started, and how you started doing the Facebook Lives every day. What results have you seen as a result of doing these Facebook Lives on a daily basis and staying committed to them?
So I think that's one of the things that, you know, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And, you know, it's funny because when I looked at the list today, there are certain days that I really, really get passionate. And excuses killed me last week or the week before. And I even remember calling you after and saying, we got to blog this one.
Yeah.
Because everybody says they're going to do something and then they don't do it. It drives me crazy.
Yes.
So I didn't know where I was going with this when I started. But shortly after I started, and I keep mentioning Whitey just gravitated, and I was inspiring him. He had suffered a really bad injury. He broke his spine. I'm going to talk more about that on day 100,
Yes.
but he's making an amazing comeback. And I go to open the mailbox one day, and these charms are in it, right? And I'm like, what is this? And these charms represent some really important things in my life that he got to understand by getting to know me. Now, you understand, I knew him 30 years ago.
Hmm.
I hadn't really spoke to him for 30 years. I heard his name. I saw him on Facebook. So when those charms came, I really saw that I was helping people and that I was effectuating some change. And it really motivated me. And I just, you know, Beth just jumped on too. Beth is the creator with Whitey of the charms. And it just has so much deep meaning that I was like, I'm touching people. And I just, you know, wanted to do more of it. So what was my commitment? Get up every morning and be somewhere at 7 a.m. and deliver a message. And with your help, because I don't have the ability to put the hours and the time into the back end, together it's a great team. You're allowing me to do what I'm loving doing, and you're making the most use of my content. So it's really, it's a great marriage. And more people are asking for more and more of what we're doing. So I just think it's a win-win, and I'm so glad that I'm part of the Leverage to Scale community.
Yes, and that is what it's all about. Because what Leverage to Scale does, in case you're interested or wondering what Leverage to Scale does, Howie creates content every single day, and he is a busy professional who is passionate about what he does. And it's wonderful because it allows someone like me to get behind someone who has a message to share with the world, who can help others, motivate others. And what I do is I take the content that he's creating on a regular basis, and we repurpose that content so that it can be utilized not just once, but it can be used again and again through his blog posts, through emails that he sends out on a regular basis, through motivational quotes on his social media platforms. And each of those platforms is a way that you can connect with him and that you can learn more about what he's doing, but also just get that motivation and that inspiration each day, because we all know that those are things that we could definitely be helped with. We don't know what we're going to face each day, and we don't know what we might need we might need just a little extra push for the day. And so that's what he's able to do with that. And I was just wondering, is there any advice that you can give to those who are starting to do what you do, where you were just a few months ago, which is starting to produce live content online? And is there any lessons or tips that you've learned along the way that you can share about doing that?
I think it's consistency. I think not just with my daily, what's the right thing that I call it? It's not a blog. Blog is what we send out.
Right.
It's not a podcast, which I will be launching soon, and I'm really excited about that. I've lined up some incredible guests. It's really consistency, passion, and purpose. And I think if you have those three things, like everybody wants to, I always say this, everybody wants to run a marathon, right? Everybody comes to me, oh, you ran a marathon. No, you got to run a mile first.
Right.
So I think having relevant content, I look back on my early content, I talked a lot. Now I know that I'm always asking Whitey to keep me to 4 minutes, and I struggle with that because sometimes I'm so passionate, it goes over. But you got to be consistent. If you say it's going to be at 7 o'clock, it can't be at 7:30. It can't be at 8. It has to be at 7. So, I decide I travel a lot. I have to wake up in different time zones. When I was in Colorado last week, I'm getting up at 5. Yeah, it's early. Yeah, it's hard, but I'm committed. And that's what Howie Doing It is all about. It's being committed. It's showing up every morning at 7 a.m. And, having somebody like Whitey helping me every day who's handicapped, who again will tell his story on June 7th in a bigger way when we celebrate the 100th episode. And I see him posting a lot here, Whitey. We know you're there, buddy. We know you're watching. As always, you're the best. So we have a community of people that also, it really helps that you have your core people. I have people coming and sending me notes and letters and texts, and it's unbelievable. And I don't know these people. They're not my good friends. These are people that are now in my community that are sharing me with others. So the more people that watch, that share, it's great. It's awesome.
Right. So you mentioned several things. You mentioned that you were consistent, number one, which I think in business is something that keeps us, it is what helps us to grow, is that consistency. And then secondly, you mentioned community. You have built a community not only of people who already knew you, or maybe you hadn't talked to in a long time, but you've also built a community of new followers who have helped you to grow and spur you on. And also you mentioned accountability, because some of those people show up every single day and help you because they're going to be there and they're going to be waiting on you. So those are things that if you are out there wanting to build a business, wanting to produce content on a regular basis, those are three things that you can aim for. You can aim for consistency, you can aim for community, and you can aim for or look for accountability in that community. Okay, so you are, as we've mentioned several times today, you are a proud Leverage to Scale member. So what have you liked about Amber's marketing solutions specifically? How has it helped you?
I mean, just look at my website, howiedoingit.com. I don't have the time. I don't, I'm busy. I mean, I got a lot going on, and that is up to the date, up to the minute. It's current, it's fresh, and we're constantly, Amber and I are discussing ways to make it better, fresher, more relevant. And, we're constantly every week talking about somebody wants to know Amber who, so why don't you tell them who Amber is? So you could say that.
Okay, so Amber Vilhauer is our creator. She is the mastermind behind the Leverage to Scale system. So she created this system, and you can become a part of it. Yes, and Jill, if you will, just put in some links to where they can join and become a part. I could do that afterwards, but Jill works with us at NGNG Enterprises, which is part of the Leverage to Scale system, so she can tell us more.
You should tell
about
them what NGNG stands for something great, though. You can't just say NGNG. No guts, no glory.
There we go.
And let me tell you, I've gotten to know Amber personally through some of our professional networking. If you want to talk about somebody who's committed, somebody who is on time every time, and who delivers what she says she's going to deliver, she's awesome. I don't know how she juggles it all. No. She does. And she's just an awesome person for me to be building my brand with. And like everybody that I've met through her, you and Patty and, just everybody, it just gets better and better because everybody's committed and it doesn't feel like work. It feels like we're all having fun doing what we do, and everybody's responsible for what they're supposed to do. So, Jill, everybody, it's just great.
Right. If you want a team behind you, then that is one of the perks of the Leverage to Scale system is a team of people who do enjoy what we do, and it doesn't make it feel like work on a daily basis because you get to work with people like Howie. So it's awesome, keeps you motivated, keeps you going. Is there anything else, Howie, that you want to share where they can find you on social media and things like that so they can connect?
Well, HowieDoingIt.com is the easiest place. Howie@HowieDoingIt.com is my email address. You could find me on, that's a great story, how we in fact got the Instagram name Howie Doing It.
Sure is.
That took almost 60 days, and I speak to Beth Howie now, and I'm trying to lead her to a better place. She's a really nice person, and I really appreciate the transaction, and that all worked out great. I'm trying to get better on Instagram. I got to be honest with you. I know how to navigate around Facebook better than Instagram. It seems like the future is Instagram, and I want to work harder at being more relevant on Instagram because I think, the demographics seem to be younger in Instagram and older in Facebook. That's what it seems like. Right. So I'd like a good mix because my message should resonate with, high school kids on up. I know that a high school kid might not understand where we're at in the journey and what goes on and, all these Grateful Dead quotes, when you think you're on easy street, there'll be danger knocking at your door. It's just so many of them. But we know that, it's a journey. But I do think that I could bring it to those levels. So I'd like to increase the base to a more broad-based audience of all different ages. I think we'll find that on Instagram. As far as Facebook, it's an amazing tool. It is absolutely unbelievable how I've reconnected with people from decades ago and how friends have come back in my life. And, we don't have to be like this, but we're there. We're in this online community together. They reach out, anybody could feel free emailing me, private messaging me. I just, I want to help whoever I can in any way I can. I do also some professional speaking. I haven't really even brought that out to the community yet that I'm available to do that. We'll do that later. I think the next big thing for me is the podcast. I think that's going to be great, and it's going to be all about resiliency. It's going to be about people's stories that have been knocked down, and when you get knocked down, you pick yourself back up. So I think that that's going to be really exciting. I'm really going to look forward to having some great guests on. I've been lucky over the years to build a great network, and when you're good to people, they return the favor. So they're willing to come on. And I think it's going to be great. And I think that'll help grow the community.
Great. Well, Howie, we were so pleased to have you today to be able to share your story here in the Leverage to Scale community. If you have questions for Howie, or if you have questions about the Leverage to Scale system, you can leave those below, and we will both try to come back in and answer those as time goes on. We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day to connect with us, and we are just so thankful for you.
Oh, I am thankful for you. You guys are great. You make it easy. You're so responsive to the emails. What's amazing is how much we accomplish, but yet we don't spend a lot of time doing this. It's virtual, right? We shoot each other. Right. So just think about this. If you're trying to build a business, the old days, you always had to have face-to-face meetings. I had to meet you for a meal. No, you sometimes do it like, I'll get an email from you or a text at 11 o'clock at night. And, we all have our phones. I give you an answer, and we go on. It was like, it's nothing scheduled. It's not 24/7 because we respect each other's weekends and privacy, but it could be 24/7 because if you didn't answer it now, you'll answer it in the morning.
Exactly. And I'm able to get awesome content from you all the time. So that's what's awesome about it, is being able to connect. And you be where you are and traveling, and me be here where I live, and being able to just stay connected and work together. And so that's what's so great about the Leverage to Scale system. And so if you have questions, again, please leave them below. And we just want to say thanks once again for coming on. And thanks everybody for joining us.
I think there's one last thing. They're going to go like our regional dialects are a little bit different. Where's yours from? I know where mine's from.
Okay, so I live in Mississippi. And Howie, you don't actually live where you're from originally, but you can tell where you're from and where you live now.
Yes, I spent a few years growing up in the greatest city, New York City. And now, obviously, we all know that I'm down by the beach every day. And I said it this morning. I feel so blessed and so lucky to be able to share that scene with everybody when I'm here. I'm not doing it in a way to push it in anybody's face that, oh my, look at, no. It's just a really nice way to start the day with the sunrise. It's just, it's a good way to start. So when I'm here and it's right, I love sharing it with everybody. But I need to come pay you a visit. Where am I going? What town?
You're going to Carrollton, Mississippi, and that's a tiny town. So if you want to come back in time a little bit, historic, you can come join me down here for a weekend.
And speaking of going back in time, I'm really excited. I didn't know where we were going. And when we got to like 50 or 60, Whitey and I said, let's go to 100. And I looked at a calendar. It was a Saturday. I said, and we're going to do it from Sheds, New York. So this is kind of like what we'll do next Saturday on June 7th, because Whitey has a pretty incredible story, which, I know and I think people need to hear it because he's really inspirational, and that's what Howie Doing It is all about. So I'm looking forward. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to Sheds, New York. I'm going to visit Sheds Bottle and Can Redemption Center. And if I could ask anybody to do anything, it's go to Facebook and like that too. Sheds Bottle and Can Redemption Center. But thank you for everything you do. I look forward to us doing really great things together. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Howie. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Have a great day. HowieDoingIt.com. No, I'm only kidding.
Bye-bye.
Bye.